I was doing some dahlias. Hi. I was doing some dahlias with wafer paper, gum paste, and real crepe paper. I'm trying to think of other things that you make flowers with. And I thought, you know, why don't I show a little bit of things that you can do with wafer paper, because wafer paper has limitations. Wafer paper is not paper. I'm going to say this again. It's a sheet of starch. It's basically like if you take those mashed potato flakes and you know, make a piece of paper out of them. That's what they are. So wafer paper, you have to treat not like a real paper, but like a sheet of starch. And if you think of it that way, you can kind of manipulate it to have it do things you want it to do. So first, this is a flower that I made with wafer paper yesterday. And you know, I was looking up different flowers with wafer paper just to see Google images. You don't get realistic looking flowers unless you really spend a lot of time on them. And if you're going to do that, just do it out of gum paste because it looks better in the long run. You can do veining on these if you dry the you can do veining on these if you dry the petals individually. But it's, you know, that, like I said, you might as well do it out of gum paste if you're going to take that much time. So what I did with this one is I put the whole thing together after I curled the leaves. And to curl the petals, you start, I'm going to get a little closer with this. I really hate my electric stove with this clear top. It's terrible. It's not good for sugar. You start with this. I would not recommend sticking your hand over steam, but you know, don't do what I do. Do what I tell you. See how that's curving the paper because it's just absorbing the moisture from it. And what you can do is you can take it and kind of curve it and force it a little bit as it's going. It'll curve a little more. And as soon as you take it out of the steam, it pretty much will keep its shape. Let me see. So that, you know, that has the curved shape now. Let me back this up. I don't know if it's better to have it closer or back. So when you hold this over there, see how the tip of the petal is kind of moving around? Ooh, it's moving. Yeah, see, it's curving. You can't really control this, though. That's the thing. Now it's really wet, so you pull it off, and you have a little curved paper. Now you can get like a laundry steamer that they do like to get wrinkles out of stuff. I don't see any reason to store that. Just use a pot of water. So just hold it over the steam. Curve it. Don't burn yourself. If you feel like the steam is burning you, move your hand. Alright, so there's that, and then you can curve the petal. If you want to make the petal go the other way, just move it around in a different, you know, hold it in a different position, and it'll absorb the moisture from the steam and bend in different positions. So now you have two petals and they're both slightly different. So you could, you know, put these together to make a flower like this one. And that's how I did this one. So I did all the petals individually and then I stuck them all together. And I used a circle of wafer paper and just attached them to that using piping gel. Now if you wanted to, I did a daisy the other day, and instead of curving the petals first, I just glued the whole thing together, and then you can hold the whole thing. Watch what happens with this. It's pretty cool. Whoa, look at the petals moving. Okay, so the petals all absorb that, they move. Then you can pull them out and kind of manipulate them to where you want them, but you're not going to be able to control that as much as if you do each petal individually. You can hold it over like that. Obviously the weight of the petals are going to pull them down, but the steam kind of pushes them up because the steam is rising. Ouch, ouch. Don't burn yourself. I can tolerate a lot of heat, so I'm not afraid of sticking my hand in steam. But if you get the petals wet enough, you can kind of pull them out and hold them in the position that you want until they dry. And it gives it a little movement. This doesn't look like a real daisy. Go get some gum paste. Now, the experiment that I'm going to do today, I have put together, this is a little gum paste center, and it's wired, and it's like a little daisy center. They use a daisy press. And I put 4 layers of wafer paper. I didn't even bother to do the edges curved because this is just an experiment. But there are 4 layers of this. I'm going to hold it over the steam and see what happens. So let's watch and wait. And I'm going to move it around. See, I figured that, yeah, see, first the inside's going to fall, so that's good. So then we have the inside kind of curling in. And then you can make the outside fall. Just move it around. And you can always go back. If it gets too wet, it's going to get sticky. Look at that. Now I've got, looks like a carnation. That actually works pretty well. If you're not looking for a super realistic flower, because this, you know, this isn't going to give you a super realistic flower, I would go back and, you know, curve these, take a little pair of scissors and cut these so that the edges of the petals are actually rounded. But I figured that's what would happen, is that it would just kind of open it up. And you can move them down so that the outer petals fall down. And then do this so that the inner petals fall in. And move it around. And it's just, I'm sorry, I keep moving this. It's like a little pom-pom flower. See, that worked pretty well. So, you know, wafer paper is good for some things. It's not going to make you a really super realistic flower unless you spend a lot of time on it. And steam you can use to curl the petals. Like this one, I'm going to hold over this. Like if you're making roses, you can curl the petal a little bit while it's still damp, and it will hold that shape to a certain extent. So if you wanted to curve the petals, you can do that. So the steam helps. You can also use Crisco. That'll be the next video that I do. Ow, ow, ow. The next video that I do with Crisco is an interesting thing because it affects the wafer paper differently. So just take it and curve it. And it dries, it, you know, as soon as it cools off, it kind of dries in that shape. So you can get a little wavy petal. See that? So yeah, steam works. But it's not going to give you, let me grab, this is a gum paste daisy. Okay, gum paste daisy looks better than a wafer paper daisy. Which one is better? I think this one. So that's all. Leave any questions, and I'm going to work on the Crisco one next.